Good afternoon from Mexico. So as promised, I'm going to show you guys how I make my beans. Now keep in mind, everybody is different. This is just how I do mine. There are a couple differences, but this is how I learned to do it, and I've kind of made adjustments here and there. Sometimes I'll add extras to my beans, but this is just my basic recipe that I do about once a week. So that we always have beans because they're a great side dish and very popular in Mexico, obviously. And yeah, enjoy. Let me know if you have questions. Make sure you drop a comment. You can also follow me on TikTok at LaWadita70 or on Instagram at _LaWadita70. Okay, guys, so I cleaned through my beans. If you don't normally do that, I highly recommend doing it, even if you buy your beans in the store. These ones are grown here. And so I always make sure to go through them because oftentimes they have like leaves and sticks sometimes and rocks. But rocks is the biggest thing, so it's always a good idea to clean your beans so that you can get all the rocks out. I know a lot of you already know that, but I'm just saying that for those that don't. Then what I do is put them in a pot with water. Today I had to soak them while I was at work. Or while I was working, I guess, not at work, I work from home. But I usually do it overnight, but I'm a little behind today. No big deal. But as you can see, this is what they look like. So I'm going to strain them and rinse them a couple times, and then I'll show you what we do next. All right, guys, so I use this olla, but if it's dirty, I'll just use a regular pot. I've even done this same recipe in a crock pot. So really, it's pretty versatile. Don't feel like you need one of these. I was always told that beans taste better in these, and I'm just going to tell you, if you can get your hands on one of these, definitely do, because they definitely taste better. But my husband calls these beans mantequilla. They also do pinto and black beans down here. And you can use any of those beans that you want in this recipe. Today, I'm just using the mantequilla. I like them a little bit better than pinto beans and black beans. But really it's up to you. They're just beans. It's a pretty simple recipe. You know, you got this. So I put it in the olla, and then I'll show you what I add next. All right, so I cut up one jalapeno, and I just sliced it into 3 sections, big guys. You can slice it smaller if you want. I don't really see a need to when it's just going to be in the pot. I cut about a half a white onion, and I'm leaving it so that I can just pull apart these layers, but no need to cut it small. And then I have 3 garlic cloves. I also have added probably about 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, right? Caldo en pollo en polvo. Caldo de pollo en polvo is what they call it down here. That's what I've added. I already add it to here so that it mixes up when I put the water in. And then I'm just going to put all of this in the pan. So I'm going to add in my onion. Just like this, because you guys don't need like a close-up of my... I'm not a professional doing cooking shows, even though you guys always want to see how I cook. And then I drop the onion. So that's how I put the onion in. And then I literally just put the jalapeno in. And then I'm going to crush my garlic. If I can do this with one hand. Yes. That's all I do with it. Okay, so now I have it all in the pan, including my crushed garlic, but I cut some of the video out because it was too hard to do with one hand. All right, so I like my beans to be packed full of flavor. If you want them a little bit more mild, or you prefer the beans to taste just a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it. If you don't want them to be as toned up, definitely feel free to not put as much chicken bouillon or as garlic. I just like them full of flavor. Also, they tend to get a little spicy when you add a jalapeno. I know it doesn't seem super crazy because there's only one, but when they're sitting and cooking in a pot for this long, it does tend to make it a little bit spicy. So you can always take the center out of your jalapeno, or you can leave it out altogether. Some people don't put jalapenos in theirs, and that's fine. It'll just taste like beans. But I prefer it with jalapeno because I like it to be just a little bit spicy. And one jalapeno tends to be just enough so that my kids can still eat it as well. So now we're going to add water. Okay, so I add water up to the neck of my olla. Don't worry about the exact measurement for your water because you're going to carefully watch your beans so you don't burn them. And you're going to be adding water to them periodically as they're cooking. So don't worry if you don't feel like you added enough water, you're perfectly fine. Or if you feel like you added too much, it will be just fine. Now the last thing I add is a little bit of vegetable oil, right? Boop. That's it. Okay, I don't ever even stir this. I just let it be as is and I throw it on the oven and I start it cooking. Okay, so you guys can see it back there on my stove. I top it off. Like I said, I don't stir it, but you can stir it. You're not gonna mess these up. Beans are, as long as you don't burn them, beans are pretty foolproof. So they're nothing like rice, which I think is always difficult to make because it's pretty hit or miss. But what you'll do is you're going to boil those. I don't have an exact time because I just test them. But you're going to boil them. I'm going to assume you're probably looking at like an hour to an hour and a half. I mean, maybe that's too slow and I might be wrong, but just check your beans. The thing is as long as they don't run out of water, you're not going to mess up your beans. So you have to check them periodically. That's the rule though, right? So go in, give them a stir. You don't have to stir them constantly, but go in every 10, 15 minutes, give them a stir, check the water level. If you need to add more water, add more water. I frequently have to add water as mine are cooking. If you've soaked them overnight, they'll cook faster. But if you're starting them out without even soaking them, that's gonna take you a while. So go ahead, check on them every 10, 15 minutes, 10 if it's your first time making them, just to be safe. Give them a stir, add some more water if they look like they need some water. And then once you start to, this is the best way I can describe this to you. So your beans are going to get wrinkly and then they're gonna start to look like cooked beans out of a can, okay? So when they start to get wrinkly, just know you're getting pretty close and then they'll start to smooth out. Once they start to smooth out, then you can take them out. And all I do is a squish test, which seems a little weird. Why do you guys want cooking? I am not Rachel Ray. All right, so I do a squish test. So just squish them, see how soft they are, see if they're a little too hard. And if they're soft to the way that you want them, then you're done. You can turn them off. If you want them softer, just keep letting them cook. And then towards the end of it, what you can do is you can taste test the juice that's in them to make sure that they have enough salt and things like that. Now, I don't initially add salt to my beans because I feel like this bad boy has plenty of salt in it already, but you can add salt. It's just it's all up to you. This isn't a foolproof recipe, but this will work for your beans. So you can add a little bit of salt when you taste test it and just gauge where it is. And don't worry, if you taste test it and there's not enough salt, it's okay. Put some salt in it. If you taste test it and it's too salty, add a little bit more water. Don't worry, because you're just gonna keep cooking those beans because they're gonna be just fine. All right, guys, I'll update you as soon as these bad boys are done. And I'm back. All right, guys, so it's been about 2 hours. The beans are done. I'm gonna turn them off and I'll show you what they look like. And there they are. Finished beans. Also, did I change my shirt? Yes, because I have a baby and sometimes things happen, so I have to change my shirt. So, a lot of people cook these a bunch of different ways. They add a bunch of different stuff to them. This is just how I do it. Now, I have had people tell me that they use like a pressure cooker, or I had somebody in the comments call it an olla express. I totally get that. I just don't own one. So this is how I cook my beans. But I know that there are definitely faster ways to do it. But I like it this way. And yeah, so this will feed my family beans for the rest of the week. I have never tried to freeze them. Somebody else asked me about that on TikTok. I've never tried to freeze them. I imagine that you can. I put them in Tupperware and then I put them in my fridge and we use them all week. Enjoy, guys. Let me know in the comments if you try it. Let me know how it works out.